Welcome to this week's Junior Secondary Curriculum Common Lecture Series. This week we're going to be looking at literacy and the ICT general capabilities. It's essential that you do visit the ACARA site and familiarise yourself with all the general capabilities, as every curriculum area is underpinned by these general capabilities. It is, as it says on this slide, your responsibility as a teacher to assist students to develop these general capabilities. So it's not the responsibility of only the English teacher to develop literacy. It's not the responsibility of the ICT teacher to develop ICT capability. Just a brief reminder to you about what the 7 capabilities are. We will only be looking briefly at these general capabilities. It's very important that you do investigate all of the organising elements, and if you pay attention to the highlighted areas of the screen display, you'll see that I've tried to pick out areas where it really draws attention to the fact that it's just not these type of activities that students will be doing to develop their literacy. It won't only be occurring in the English area. So it's your responsibility through all of your courses, all of the subject areas and all of the classes that you teach the different year levels to develop those organising elements that are mandated in the general capabilities. One of the areas I could just highlight to your attention to are the common curriculum elements that really grade 11 and 12 do a lot of work with them, but students need to be aware of these elements in the early years of study. Moving on to the ICT general capabilities, I hope that you're able to see the connections between literacy development and the use of ICTs. The organising elements in the ICT general capability will help you understand that link. These are really key points. As it mentions here, the ICT general capability is a key dimension of the Australian curriculum. And they should be clearly identified within each subject area. You would notice that much of the language that was used in the literacy and ICT general capabilities are very similar. And so the types of activities that you could be thinking about when you're looking at ICTs certainly lend themselves to the literacy development. So why a big push for ICTs? Well, I guess our young people are starting to use ICTs and come to our classrooms with a fair amount of skill. It's complicated. It's a text that the image will come up shortly that you can access in part 2 of today's presentation. You can download that text, and it's a great read. There are some very good sections in there, but it draws attention to the change in our students. Very different needs and desires of our students these days. It's very important that when students use the ICTs, that they are using them in ways that are socially responsible. This is a clip from the AITSL site about responsible use of ICTs, and it's very important that teachers give opportunities for students to understand how to access digital technologies or information in appropriate ways, and they use the ICTs ethically. When addressing standard 4.5 of the Australian standards, you will be very aware of different types of opportunities, different opportunities that you'd have to develop students' digital literacy. And those of you who have completed the CyberSmart modules as part of your wider professional experience would have developed excellent capabilities and downloaded many resources that will be very useful for you in the classroom. So just a reminder to you about the 3 standards that overtly talk about using ICTs in the classroom. When you access the second part of our presentation today, you will come across a game review from Good Game ABC review of games. It's a really interesting website, and it can give you great information about the types of games that you can use in your classroom, particularly for developing literacy. This Common Sense Media is an excellent website to get information about the appropriateness of the resources that our students are using. This is particularly about the Broken Age game that's reviewed in the Good Game link that I've provided in the second section. So it's really worth looking at that and subscribing to it. Don't forget about the Teaching Teachers for the Futures site, brilliant resources. The following video explores an excellent resource for teachers. You should register with Scootle and think about using Scootle on your next professional experience.
The digital education revolution isn't coming. It arrived some time ago. Have a listen to what teachers are saying.
We have better student engagement, we have greater learning growth, they're getting better concept recall, they're getting better results.
It's about putting the learning in the hands of the students, enabling the students to work at their own level on the work that they need to do in order to bring them to the next level.
And if we've got these tools available that can make our work a little bit easier, why not?
Have you seen Scootle? It's magic.
Scootle is one convenient way of accessing more than 15,000 digital learning resources. These have been sourced through national projects and content sharing. The first thing you notice in the menus on Scootle's homepage is Find by Australian Curriculum. More than 80% of current resources are in English, history, mathematics and science. Every single one of them is now linked to the relevant content description in the Australian curriculum. All the content for each of the strands at every year level, Foundation to Year 10, has digital resources attached. Let's say we want to teach our younger students about sound and letter knowledge. Click on the descriptor and you'll come to the more detailed description. Click again and you'll see the resources, and plenty of them. Letter Detective is popular. This is how 5-year-olds can work on letter matching and learning. Like so many of the other resources, it's an interactive bit of learning. Hands-on, engaged. But there are many other types of resources as well. If you're working on the impact of the Second World War with a Year 10 class, you can easily look at clips like this.
At the end of the war, the prisoners returning home were apprehensive about the reception they would receive. They felt they had no future in Japan.
One of teachers' current favourites is Fraction Fun. But this is interesting for another reason. ESA has conducted several major research projects into the impact of learning with digital materials. One of the strong findings was how well they developed the foundations of mathematics: place value, fractions, area, pattern and measurement. In the middle primary years, the years when it counts.
Yes, well done.
This wasn't true just of topics which are thought of as hard to teach, but also for students who are sometimes thought of in the same way. Some people think that these materials are only for primary students. Nothing could be further from the truth. This resource is designed for Year 10 maths students studying chance and probability, focusing on representations of bivariate data. This clip is taken from the ABC's Catalyst program and looks at the effects of ocean waves on Australia's coastal ecosystem. It relates to learning about marine habitats for secondary students, but can be used at a range of year levels. This is an indication of the wide diversity of sources from which digital materials have been obtained. The ABC is certainly one, along with the National Archive, the National Library, Screen Australia and dozens of other cultural institutions. The result is a treasury of educational resources, and it's a treasury you won't get lost in or wander around aimlessly. These resources are for teachers as well as students. Teachers can search or create learning paths for their students. There are over 200,000 that teachers have already created. For example, if you're teaching two-dimensional shapes, here are a set of related resources you can use. As well, teachers have already contributed hundreds of units of work for others to use. And there are tools and ideas for assessment. We could spend a very long time exploring this educational goldmine, but that's something for teachers and students to enjoy over time. The job isn't done yet. What we have is wonderful, educationally effective, unique. But the target is to develop resources to cover the entire Australian curriculum. As new curriculum areas are developed, new resources will be added. They will include ones for teachers which are aligned to the professional standards. Use of cloud, mobile and social networking technologies is also in development. Lastly, I want to show you a map of all the countries in the world that have a national curriculum that is solely online and directly aligned with digital learning resources. The collective investment of Australia's governments and cooperation of all education agencies is working. In a digital world, our students and teachers are moving way ahead.
Please return now to either your 3284 EDN or your 7801 Common Curriculum Lectures folder on Learning at Griffith and go into the Lecture 2 section and open up the View Me Last file. And this will enable you to continue your multimedia extravaganza for today. Have a bit of faith in your intuition, and you will find that ICT is a fantastic tool for developing literacy in your students. Thank you very much for engaging in this particular task.